My name is Carlton King. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be James Bond, Carrie Matheson, or Jason Bourne? Have you wondered if you have what it takes to chase terrorists around the world in order to prevent them carry out actions that would create mass murder in your city, in your country, or in the country of an ally? Do you think you have it in you to live another man's life, to be deep undercover, and to suffer from Stockholm Syndrome and the schizophrenia that trying to be one person and not your real person brings about in you? Could you achieve that? Are you willing to take a bullet for your Prime Minister, your President, or other very senior politician in order to keep your nation safe? And indeed, visitors to your nation who are themselves Prime Ministers and Presidents. Could you do that? Would you wish to do that? If you've considered any of these things, then my new show, the Black Spy Podcast, is for you. So why is it called Black Spy Podcast? Well, because I'm black, and I was a spy in Her Majesty's Secret Intelligence Service, MI6, where I carried out the senior case officer role that you see in the James Bond movie. The person that chases that terrorist around the world, that tries to prevent that action, and that tries to recruit individuals who are already in terrorist organisations or are individuals who are in somebody else's country as intelligence officers or senior army officers or ministers in government, and you attempt to turn that person so that your country can reap the benefit of the secret intelligence that that individual has in his or her hands. I was also a senior member of Scotland Yard's Special Branch, where I did the absolute opposite to what I did in MI6. In fact, I then attempted to prevent intelligence officer from gaining that information. I attempted to uncover the people who were spies in my country. The intelligence officers from foreign countries, be it the KGB or now SVR or FSB from, say, the Russians or the Chinese. And I worked hand in hand with many other individuals from their various agencies, be that the FBI, CIA, US Secret Service, the Germans, Bundesverfassungsschutz, the Bundeskriminalamt, the French. Indeed, you name the agency and I will have worked with them. This is because my role in Special Branch was as a counter-terrorist, counter-extremist, counter-subversive, counter-espionage, counter-proliferation, and counter-public disorder officer, in which we functioned as a political police, if you will, of the United Kingdom. I also created and headed the Strategic Analysis Unit of Britain's Domestic Extremism Unit. In this organisation, I created in-depth analytical papers for senior government officials, senior police and police intelligence officers, i.e. special branches, for the security and intelligence services and for the military of the United Kingdom. All with the aim of informing people what the political fallout could be with any issue that might happen within the next 2 to 5 years coming forth. So that might be a pandemic, it might be public disorder, it may well be a war, let's say, between India and Pakistan in the future. Or what would animal rights activists do in years to come? Or, indeed, what would the extreme left wing do or the extreme right wing do in order to try and create the circumstances that would lead them to revolutionary activities in the United Kingdom if you're on the left, or a race war in the United Kingdom if you were on the right? In other words, using the black community most often, or the communities of colour often, to create a circumstance where the state and those communities are at loggerheads. And add to that then the working class. That is the ideal for both extreme left and extreme right activists, as they call themselves, to undermine our parliamentary democracy in the United Kingdom. And finally, I was one of the founders of SO1 Specialist Protection, the organisation which globally protected, in a personal protection perspective, the Prime Minister, Foreign Secretary, Home Secretary of our country, wherever they were in the world, and visitors to the United Kingdom, be they presidents, prime ministers, or indeed some royals. So this is my experience as to why I believe I have the credentials to be able to help you understand what the secret world does in your name. uniquely, I'm the only person in the United Kingdom to have been in all these organisations and to work day by day with MI5, the security service, in addition to all the organisations I've been part of. So my intention is, 1, to have guests on the show, and these guests will be people that are not in the intelligence, national security or armed personal protection area, but have always had an interest in these particular domains. So after me questioning them, how they got their expertise in their particular area, be it that they are a famous actor, or be they are a famous sports person, or the famous manager of a sports thing like, say, the England team, or be they musicians of fame, great entrepreneurs, politicians indeed. After I finish questioning them, they will then have the right and the ability to question me, and to have answered all of those things they've always wondered about. Secondly, it is also my intention to have special shows in which we take a theme and I'll explain that theme. I'll explain how the secret world functions in this particular area and how it feeds into the geopolitics of the world in which you live. And then finally, you as individuals will have a right to phone into the show on special occasions and ask me for the whole of the show, whatever question you want, be it some sort of conspiracy theory or be it a question relating to how the secret services were created. Why were they created? What was the basis or the idea behind it? And are they of any use today? Are they reckless organisations? Is there such a thing as a licence to kill? So this is what the show intends to do. And hopefully it will inform you about an area that you generally never hear of, and indeed never will hear of. You'll just see the resultant of it. And I invite you to listen to the Black Spy podcast every Wednesday, and obviously available at any stage from any of the very well-known podcast platforms. If you wish to know more about me before listening to Black Spy podcast, you can obtain my memoir, Black Ops, The Incredible True Story of a British Secret Agent, on any platform such as Amazon, Kindle, iTunes, Google, or of course you can buy the book in the paperback format from the same platforms. I thank you for listening, and I hope you'll be an avid consumer of Black Spy podcasts.
Here is a working class spy telling his stories, the secrets, the lives of spies. Feel free to message Carlton King on all socials and give this show 5 stars on Apple iTunes and subscribe so you never miss a single episode. For your ears only.
For more than a quarter of a century, I was a member of Her Majesty's Secret Intelligence Service.